The Warriors, how good are they? I got some thoughts. Let's talk about it. It's the Hoops Nerd post-game show. Guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's just get into this. So the Utah Jazz lose to the Golden State Warriors, Steph Curry, and not Draymond Green. Just some thoughts on the Warriors. I have to say, Draymond Green got ejected at 12 minutes. He was not good. He was a minus 15. I don't know. This Warriors team with Draymond on the floor, they played better when he left. And the ejection for him was bad. I think he's about done. I don't know. I feel bad for Steph even watching it. I was watching part of this game with my parents who were visiting. And like we were just kind of watching and this Warriors team just got better when Draymond was off the floor. And I was just talking to my parents, just saying this was one of the last times we're really going to be able to enjoy Steph. I don't know how much longer he has, and he had a vintage Steph Curry night tonight. But he's just so talented, and it's just such a bummer that you have nights like this where Draymond Green is just so unhinged and just walks off the floor after a double ejection. It's crazy. The stuff that he gets away with is nuts. And it was nice to see the refs call the text tonight. And I thought it was funny because Utah, like the Warriors looked unserious to me. I tweeted it from the SLC Dunk account. I was like, this is a bad Warriors team. And then Draymond leaves and all of a sudden they just kind of play better. They flow better. They're making shots. They're moving the ball, cutting, and all these different things. And Draymond, his defense wasn't even that impressive tonight, especially when you can look at that, minus 15. Just not very good. Jimmy Butler is getting old, too. I mean, this Warriors team, they are on the E on the gas tank, right? They just are kind of on their last legs. It'll be really fascinating to see after this season what they do. But, I mean, are you given a big time? I can't remember. I think Jimmy Butler's contract ends this season. If not, then they got him next year. But if it ends this season, do you give Jimmy Butler a contract? I don't know. Especially, the question is, I guess, how much? But he just looks slower and not as quick. He's probably playing through some stuff. Even his free throws look flat to me. I don't know. Tonight he was 6 for 8. But, man, this Warriors team, they beat this Utah Jazz team, who, by the way, the first 2-3 quarters of this game, the offense was amazing. And in the fourth quarter, it stalled, which tells me something, that I think this Utah Jazz is all in on what they're doing. I think the players are all in on it, and we're in great shape if that's the case. Let's talk Utah Jazz now. This Jazz team, they came into this mostly all healthy. They didn't play, I think it was Yusuf Nurkic, which was a smart idea. It's kind of amazing how the Jazz have turned Yusuf Nurkic into a solid NBA big man when he looked like he was just out of the league last year and was basically a throw-in he was a just salary filler for the Colin Sexton trade, and he's been very solid for this Jazz team, enough so that if the Jazz throw him a contract and he's the second or third big next year, depending on how this team develops, depending on free agency and the draft. If Utah loses the draft and drafts Jaden Quaintance, I would not be surprised if Nurkic is like the third big, but that's okay because he's been playing really good. And so it's just really interesting. So just getting into it, Svi Mykhailiuk continues to be on the Utah Jazz. There has got to be a team out there that could use him, because if you're a veteran team, much like this, this Warriors team very much could use Svi Mykhailiuk. No question. Just his three-point shooting, and he's active, and he moves, and he's a smart player, and I think he'd be a perfect Warrior, to be honest. And so the Warriors should send us a late second-round pick for Svi Mykhailiuk, or cash. Just send cash so we can pay our tanking fines, and you can have him. And that would be great, because I would love to see more minutes going to Cody Williams, who now is becoming a dunking machine. Holy crap. Story of this one, too, for the Jazz. By the way, they played Lauri Markkanen 40 minutes. If you look at that, 40 minutes. So if Adam Silver wants to say anything about tanking, Utah played Lauri. They played Keonte George 36 minutes, and they lost the game. So I don't know, but Utah, they definitely had a successful night. You are correct, Jace the Ace Garner. That is accurate. But you do got to look at this Jazz team. I made it as like the title of the video. You look at the Utah Jazz and what they have right now, what they're going to potentially add this offseason, they are going to be good next year. It's not a question if they'll be good. It's just a question of how good. They will at worst be able to exactly, Jace. They'll at the very least have Walker Kessler coming back to this team, unless they trade him or unless free agency goes horrible. I mean, if the Lakers throw $50 million at him, then he might go to the Lakers, but I doubt that happens. But at worst, they're likely going to re-sign Walker Kessler, and they can match anything. So if they feel like they have to keep Walker Kessler, they can, no matter what, restricted free agency. On top of that, Utah is doing a great job with the tank. In fact, let's just look at Tankathon right now. With that loss, Utah is at 7, and I think it was Zach Lowe talked about the odds. At 7, Utah has, I think, an 87% chance of keeping their pick. I think Utah's going to be at 5 or 6 when all is said and done. I think they're going to do what they need to do. 6 is almost assuredly keeping it. It's got to be like 97% chance to keep their pick. The odds of like 3 teams post 6 jumping, even with the flattened odds, are just not very likely. And then Utah, if you go, I mean, honestly, Utah going from 7 to 5, if you look at the difference, it's 29 to 42% chance to get top 4. That is not nothing, right? And like Zach Lowe said, I liked kind of the comparison. If someone told you that if you go outside today, a 42% chance you get struck by lightning and die. Anyone going out of their house? Probably not. That is some crazy, very I'm not putting anything 42% like that, right? So if you think about it like that, that's pretty good odds. And then a 10% chance at the number 1 overall pick, which is pretty close to what these guys are doing. If you're at like 14.5, you're not getting it. But, these teams jumped before. But, Utah, at the very least, keeps their pick in that scenario, especially at 5, 6, 7, 8. The likelihood of 4 teams in this range jumping is just so astronomically low. It will not happen. And then, of course, 4 is 100%. But I just don't know if Utah's going to get there. I think Utah is going to pass Charlotte. Look at this. Charlotte's 5-5 in their last 10. Even Brooklyn, who I think is going to try to out-tank us, we possibly could. Washington, look at that. 6-4 in their last 10. You got a lot of Washington fans that got to be freaking out. Their pick is protected 1 through 8, so they're in the same boat as Utah. Funny how the Jazz are the ones that get talked about and not Washington. I don't know. It's annoying. Sacramento, they're probably trying to just tank this one out. They are so bad. And then New Orleans. New Orleans is going to, I promise you, New Orleans is going to go on a flurry of wins at the end of the season because they have nothing to tank for. And it would be nice to see them. I want to see the Clippers keep winning. They lost, I guess, tonight or yesterday, whichever it was. They are so fool's gold. They are so bad. But they are going to beat these teams. They're going to beat Utah again because Utah's going to have to tank them. And I just don't want to see OKC jump in the lottery, 100%. And then, yeah. So this is great for Utah. Top 7. They need to get to 5, in my opinion, just to be 100% sure. And honestly, just improve their lottery odds, right? That's what they need to do. Like you said, Jace, great tanking night for the Jazz. In fact, let's just go over it. Incredible tanking night for the Jazz. So let's see. Charlotte wins. So that ties Utah with Charlotte right here. Utah plays Charlotte here pretty soon. The Blazers won, which was getting a little scary, but now they're starting to get back on their winning track. Dallas wins. This was the big one because Utah's been tied with Dallas forever, and they are tanking too. No one says anything about Dallas and them resting AD. I swear that's baloney, but it's us that gets the headlines. It's annoying. But Dallas won. And yeah, now it's too bad the Celtics beat the Clippers, but whatever. We'll take what, almost perfect night, to be honest. If the Clippers would have won, that would have been great. But the more the Clippers win, the better. Every Clippers win is a Christmas miracle. And so we just root for that. But I hope the Clippers keep winning, and it's just down to here. And I hope the Thunder do not get a single one of these picks. If the Clippers give them like the 14 pick, whatever. Good for Oklahoma City. I do not want them to get a top 4 pick. That would be devastating for the league. It would be so bad. I want it for the Jazz though. Let's see. So Lowry, back to the sleeping giant talk. Utah is going to likely keep their pick. They're going to get a good player in this draft. There are good players all over the place in this draft. Obviously the top 4 are great. Whether you like Kingston Flemings, Mikal Brown, Koa Pete, Jaden Quaintance, they're gonna get a guy in that next tier that's good. A lot of people love LeBaron Filan. He might be a lot better. I mean, look at this, 27-7. He's really, really good. You never know. But Utah's gonna add another top 7 or 8 pick. It's weird. Utah's either going to get a top 4 or they're going to be around like 7 or 8. That's kind of where they're going to be based off of. You can't be like, if you're at 5 or 6 and you don't jump, you're getting moved back. So Utah's looking at like 1 through 4 and 7, 8, I guess, or 6, 7 or 8, basically. If the Jazz add a top 5 pick in this, basically it's a top 4 pick or like a 7 or 8 or 9 pick. Well, the 9 they lose it, but it's basically top 4 or like 7 or 8. And if they get this top 4 pick, like let's say they get Caleb Williams, I am more than happy getting Caleb Williams, or Caleb Wilson. I'm not gonna lie, if you watch Caleb Wilson, you kind of realize I would not be surprised if of all these 4 guys, if he's just the best player of all 4. He looks like Kawhi Leonard is kind of what he looks like as a prospect to me. He looks awesome. This is just such a good draft. And if you jump, it doesn't matter 1, 2, 3, or 4. It's going to be really good. We all know about Cam Boozer. We all know about AJ DeBonsa, who I think is actually the number 1 pick. But if you get anyone in this top 4, you've got to be just ecstatic. It's interesting. Cam Boozer doesn't quite seem to fit Utah as much as those other 3 guys probably would. I look at Caleb Wilson more as like a wing small forward who can play power forward, although he can kind of do both. Cameron Boozer is like a pure power forward. That's what he is. These other guys fit in perfectly. Another wing in DeBonsa. DeBonsa's my number 1 pick personally. And then I think Peterson's 2 for me. And then I'll be honest, I might have Caleb Wilson 3, to be honest. He is, and watch Cam Boozer come in and be Tim Duncan and he's the best. And if that's the case, awesome. We get to see highlights. We don't get to see everything that the teams do. And they have all the time in the world. They have scouts whose full-time job is to watch these guys. And then they also get workouts. Both with the agents and with the players and at the combine. And also they are able to bring players in and work them out and see them there. So yeah, Jace, Caleb Wilson is awesome. And he's got that dog factor, I have to say. That's why I love Jaden Quaintance too. Like, I just think that Jaden Quaintance is a guy that like is going to be good. He plays his heart out. Like, he's one of those guys that just plays so dang hard. 20 points and 14 rebounds. That's what he does, is just play his heart out. I love those types of guys. And that's what Caleb Wilson is. And he's just got this insane frame and length. It's crazy. Kevin Love started at center. He was pretty decent. I think there's got to be some teams out there that have some interest in him. 10 rebounds, 5 points, 5 assists. He just plays really solid. Now, he's not going to lead you to this promised land as your starter, but as a backup center, he does really good, and we've seen that with the Jazz, that he does nicely. And that's what Utah needs to do. They just need to make a few more trades so they can just ease their tank a little more. And they can do that for sure. Kevin Love has got to have some value across the league. Has got to. Sensabaugh shot the ball better from 3, so that was nice to see. He's been slumping a lot this season, but tonight it was much better. 12 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds. 5 for 8 from the field. Very good Bryce Sensabaugh night. Nice to see, because he had been trending badly. I would argue that tonight was kind of a subpar night for Keonte George. It was interesting. The refs were letting them play. Absolutely just letting them play. And so Key didn't go to the line quite as much, but neither did the Warriors. 24 free throws tonight for the Warriors, 17 for the Jazz. And, Key still leads the team in free throws. He's just so good at it. Even on a night when the refs are just letting him play, he's still getting to the line. So some of these misses are typically going to be free throws that he'd usually take. But, even with a subpar shot night from 2, he still shot 4 of 9 from 3. He is becoming so lethal. And then this is something that's just new this year too. Keonte George, when he's not shooting it, he's still contributing in so many ways. 22 points, 9 assists. So he can play point guard. And if he needs to focus more on moving that ball, then he can. That's what's exciting. And he's just going to get better. That's what's crazy. Keonte George in year 3, he is just 22. He's not even in his prime yet. And this is just year 3 for him. And the numbers he's putting up are bonkers. Just bonkers. 34 minutes a night, 24 points, 45% from the field, 37% from 3. He's just, that's 3 percentage points better than last year, just from 3. And when you look at his field goal percentage, 6 percentage points better. That's just massive improvement. And it's, the thing that I was just kind of begging for last year is just make better decisions, which he has. But on top of just making better decisions, the shots that I should not take, that I'm taking, he's doing better with that. But then also just the shots in general he's taking, he's making them. He is so lethal. And guys, I have an announcement to make, and this is something that's very important to me. And I don't know if it's important to other people, but this is something I think about a lot. And I realized it with Keonte George. It's important. I think about what the NBA players would be if they were one of the superheroes in either the Marvel or DC universe, typically Marvel. And I don't think it's debatable at this point that Keonte George is Spider-Man. Ironically, Donovan Mitchell had that nickname. But Keonte George is more of a Spider-Man to me than Donovan Mitchell ever was. Donovan Mitchell was more of a cannonball or something like that, where it's just like pure scoring and driving and pure athleticism, things like that. Keonte George is long, lanky, smart. I would argue he has the spider sense when you consider the fact that he knows how to draw fouls. He knows how to make the right pass. He makes everyone better. He is so quick to the basket, and he can make a shot from every angle there is. And if there's one thing we know about Spider-Man, it's him casting his webs from different angles. It doesn't matter. It's from any part of the court or from any building. And that's what Keonte George does. And he is a lethal scorer. And so he's more almost like a Miles Morales with the electricity power and things like that. So I just thought about that. When I look at him, I see Spider-Man. The classic, lanky, long, super athletic Spider-Man. It's really fun. And so I just thought that was important. I'm still not quite sure what Lauri Markkanen is. I'm kind of thinking something like Cyclops or something like that. Not a lot of defense there, but a lot of offense. I think Lauri Markkanen might just be Cyclops. The only thing is that if you're Cyclops, you are a leader. I don't know if Lauri Markkanen is a Cyclops level strategist and leader, but maybe. He's certainly got the firepower and the punch. Yeah, so maybe Lauri Markkanen is Cyclops and Keonte George is Spider-Man. And if the Jazz get AJ DeBonsa, guys, oh my gosh. We're looking at like a level 5 mutant, right? If you don't know, that's the highest level. And then there's level 5 mutants and there's Omega mutants. But the difference is Omega mutants, their power can go to uncharted levels. It doesn't necessarily mean they're a level 5 mutant. It just means their mutant power can become unlimited. So someone who's a level 5 mutant is Iceman, who can shoot ice and can make things infinitely colder. I can't remember exactly why his is Omega, but it goes infinite. Storm, Omega level mutant, because she can grow to a point where her storms become unlimited. unlimited. So anyways, we'll see what AJ DeBonsa is. I don't know if he's one of the Avengers. The Avengers considered a more powerful unit than the X-Men, if you didn't know. If you've read Super Size X-Men, the origin of the Chris Claremont X-Men. But so maybe AJ DeBonsa is like Thor. Thor is like peak superhero power and ability. Maybe. Let's see. Keonte George, that's all I wanted to say is that I think he's Spider-Man. He's freaking awesome, and he's so freaking good, and one of the most underrated power superheroes in all of comic books. Taylor Hendricks got 12 minutes tonight. He kind of struggled. He's been struggling a little bit lately, but he's doing a few things. I think he just needs more minutes, and I think his legs need to heal up, and I just want to see more Taylor Hendricks. We know he can shoot the ball. He's shooting the ball really well. 3 assists, 2 rebounds. I think what's hard for Taylor Hendricks is he lost an entire year of development to the injury. I think there's been development going on a little bit with him, but he's also recovering from a just catastrophic leg injury. And in a sport where you're jumping and leaping and planting and all those things, I don't doubt that his leg probably hurts at times. And so there's probably a little care going into that, but also he just needs more time. And I think he'll be just fine. It might take a little more time than we all expected. One thing that has been nice to see this season is that he shoots the 3 really well. And so at worst, if he's a solid defender who can shoot the 3, then that's great. That's a win for a number 9 pick to be a rotation player, spot starter. If that's all he is, but he's a good defender and that fits the mold of what Utah needs is just defense, length, and shooting and all that, then great. Isaiah Collier was a minus 14 in this one. He went 4 for 8 from the field. It's funny that he's a minus 14. I didn't know if sometimes plus minus is a little deceiving because he was, 8 points. Sorry, guys. 7 assists and 5 rebounds and 3 steals. And yet minus 14. So it's kind of like, I don't know if it's just this bench unit in general, but this is where Utah's kind of losing these games. And I think it was basically him being connected to this bench unit and both losing momentum times. Probably could have helped a little bit more, but yeah, I like what we've seen from Collier. And he's 100% a guy that you keep on this roster. And that's what we're going to learn as these seasons go on, is I think Isaiah Collier is 100% worth investing in. Utah will only get 1 pick this upcoming draft, but it'll be a good one. And then they've got decisions to make on guys like, Filipowski, and Clayton's obviously going to be on this team. Cody Williams, who's showing a lot. So it's nice. I don't know. But Collier was pretty good, and he's worth investing in. And, he's showing enough that maybe there's a team out there if they want to make some sort of trade this offseason and Utah wants to consolidate. Like, if Utah can bring in a nice player and they trade something like Filipowski and Collier and maybe like the Lakers pick and, they bring in a real difference maker, then who knows? Especially if the Utah wins the lottery and you can go out and get another star or some sort of elite level rotation player, then awesome. Or you just keep him and you develop him. It's great. Filipowski, he did better off the bench, and there's times where he does some really nice things. I don't know if he's a winning player on an NBA court. I don't know. He does a lot of nice things, and we're obviously not going to trade him anytime soon. I think he's worth investing in and see what he can be. And at worst, I think he's a very solid 3rd big at worst. And I think his ideal role is off the bench as just a do-it-all big that kind of gives you a different look and can spread the floor. And maybe he plays at the 5 for certain lineups that can really, score the ball and things like that. But he's kind of situational to me is kind of how I look at him, at least right now. Just like all these other players, you never know. Like if he just develops certain elements of his game, if he just figures out how to defend a little better, who knows? But I think he can, at worst, I think he's going to be a solid backup. And that's fine. That is fine. Walter Clayton Jr. played 16 minutes in this. He was also -6. I didn't feel his impact quite as much, but he did go 2 for 5 from 3, which is nice to see. So this is also a year of development for him. I know Walter Clayton is a lot older than your typical rookie because he's a 4-year college player, but still a rookie, still going to have to acclimate, you know? So 6.6 points. He's shooting 42% from the field and 30% from 3. That's got to get better, but he had such a tough start to the year, right? And so we're seeing him just improve that as the season goes on, and honestly in big games and in big moments. So I'm not worried about Walter Clayton. I think he's going to be just fine. It's going to be interesting for this Jazz team as time goes on. That's why you got to trade someone like Svi, because you want to give minutes to Collier and Clayton, right? As time goes on, it's going to be interesting to see who of these two guys, Collier and Clayton, is on the team in 2-3 years, and how they develop, because it's been a good competition for both of them, and Collier's improved a lot this year, and we know that Clayton is a winning player. So I don't know. At worst, Utah has a trio of point guards and struggles to kind of find time for everyone, but that's a good problem to have, especially as the Jazz next year are going big time for wins and going for it all, So that'll be interesting. Guys, it's time to get a little bit excited about Cody Williams. I think Cody Williams in the last, 2 weeks to a month has earned himself another contract. I don't know if the Jazz are going to pay him a lot. But he is worth investing in because he is figuring a few things out, especially on just driving to the basket. We know that he can bring an element of defense. Let's see. Let's go back. Like, he is now doing a highlight dunk once a game. So let's just look at this one dunk. I'm just so happy for Cody Williams, who comes into these games and is saying, I'm going to dunk this ball. I'm going to drive with reckless abandon, and I am going to dunk this basketball on you. And he does it every game. It's awesome. It looks like this isn't loading. Maybe the NBA video is down. Dang. But anyways, go watch the highlights. Cody Williams he's driving to the basket at least once or twice a game, and it's just like, I am going to dunk on your head type aggression, and I love it. And I would love for more players to do that. And he's got the body and the athleticism to do it, and I think it's changed who he is as a player. And we watched him make 2 threes the other night. If he can, it's like I sometimes, and sorry if I repeat what I say some of these nights, but it's just the truth. Cody Williams is not far off from being a very nice rotation player. Maybe he's not a starter. I don't think he's ever going to be an all-star. Never say never, but I don't think so. But at worst, I think he's going to be a really nice rotation player because of the defensive element he brings. And then when you take into account this aggression driving to the basket, he's not playing afraid. And then if he can hit threes, all of a sudden that just opens up everything. It really does. And so, who knows what his future is like. You never want to box people or players into just like, this is what you are, because people and players can improve and get better at things if they put in the work. And I think Cody Williams has 100. If I was like, and maybe this is a hot take, but if I was choosing long-term to invest in either Cody Williams or Kyle Filipowski, probably investing in Cody Williams, just because of that archetype is rare. The wing defender who can shoot threes and defend and can drive to the basket and all of that. You can find bigs out there. And yeah, Kyle Filipowski's got a lot of skill, but he's not a good defender. And when he goes in there, it's a dunk line. But Cody Williams defends and could fit into a great defensive team scheme, right? To be honest, the driving to the basket is a little reminiscent of his brother on the Thunder, Jalen Williams, who his game is pretty simple, but it's super effective. It's like driving to the basket with figuring out lanes. He's figured out how to when he's got a lane, when he's got like an opening or a little bit of daylight, he is attacking it. And it's very similar to his brother. And I wonder if he's just worked with his brother. Who knows? But he's doing it. And it's pretty exciting. Now he's got to figure out the jump shot. It's very bad. Very bad indeed. But in college, I believe, I can't remember what his college 3-point shot was. Look at this. Look at Cody Williams, from 32 to 38% from the field. I know we're in the 30s, but that's a 6 percentage point jump. A 6 percentage point jump. 3-point percentage has gone down, but, I think this is going to get better. Honestly, I'm not even worried about this that much. I think they should give him more time. He's got to work on that shooting in the offseason, but in fact, let me just look up Cody Williams college. I think he played at Colorado. College stats. At where did he play? Yeah, Colorado. What was his? He shot 41% from 3 at Colorado. Now it's on 1.7 attempts a game. But there are signs that he can shoot too. Now his shot at times is way off. But he's an NBA. Yeah, 41% from 3 in college. He is absolutely got potential to be a really nice rotation player. And so I would like to trade Svi to the Sun for a little bit of sunshine and just send him there. That's all I want. Seems reasonable to me. But yeah, I just think that he has, in games like tonight, let's see if it'll load it this time. There we go.
11 marking and 11. They're the two big
scores. Look at this dunk. He gets this ball. See how he sees daylight and he's like, oh, I'm going. Boom! On his head. Like left hand, reckless abandon. It is great. He's doing that once a game. We come to these games now to watch Cody Williams dunk the ball, basically, right? Is that what everyone else is doing? That's what I'm doing. No, it's great. Great to see. So, exciting night, guys. This was extremely successful night for the Utah Jazz. Extremely successful. And not only are the Jazz doing the right thing, they're going to keep the pick. They're going to go into this offseason with a draft pick that's going to change. I have a good feeling about this draft, by the way, guys. I just do. I just feel like we're gonna jump. Now, if we get the number 1 pick, who knows? I just feel like it's our time, and I think we're going to get lucky this time. I sure hope so. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be just like, it would be life-changing. I'll be honest. I'm not kidding. It'll be life-changing for me. More people will watch the channel. It'd be freaking great. Let's just hope. All right, let's see. And we haven't even talked about Ace Bailey, who didn't even play. So what happens if Ace Bailey improves? And what happens if the Jazz get AJ DeBonsa? And what happens if Keonte George takes another leap? And Walker Kessler either is great or you add someone else. Kind of wish the Jazz would get like a shooting, rim protecting center, but that might be Walker Kessler if he was hitting threes. So who knows? Utah's going to be good. Next year, book it. But could you imagine a starting lineup of Key, Ace, DeBonsa, Markkanen, and Kessler? That is crazy town. And then you go out and you just go sign some nice players with your free agency money to fill your bench. And so if guys like Clayton or Collier or Filipowski or Williams are not playing to the level they need to, Taylor Hendricks, then you have even more depth. Utah has a chance to be so good next year, guys. Oh my gosh. All right, let's do this sim. If the lottery was today, Utah is at 7, 87% chance to keep their pick. What would happen? Keeps their pick. Utah keeps the pick. That is a success. We'd like to win. That's okay. That gives them Mikal Brown Jr., who is looking fantastic at Louisville. He looks awesome. Put him on Put him in a Jazz jersey and let's go. Put him next to Keonte George. That's exciting stuff. But at this point, you have a choice between him, Koa Pete, Yusufu, Quaintance, Kareem Lopez is there, Phylon is there. There's a lot of people that might draft Phylon at that spot. Who knows? Jace, you're so awesome. All-star for 49 months. Just wanted you to know you're the man, and I can't wait until we finally can hang that championship banner. You know what? It's going to be out of this world, and I hope everyone is here to celebrate it. It's going to be freaking great. Absolute pandemonium. I don't even know what that would be like. That would be just insanity. I'd have to get my family on the stream. I don't know. Wouldn't that be amazing? Oh, that would be so good. That'd be so good. All right, guys, let me see. Let me refresh this. And let's give a shout out to the All-Stars. By the way, if you'd like to support the channel, you can join. And I really appreciate it. Okay, let's see. All right, let's give a shout out to the All-Stars. Let's give a shout out to See Ya, Lexa Later, Ryan Perry, The Legend, The Name Means King, Jace the Ace Garner, Steve Areno, Stoofser, Let Him Cook, Sturdy Pots, Ezekiel Ricibe, The Man from Down Under, Tyson Price, The Price is Right, Jordan the Goat Besserell, Christian House Money to Haas, Robert Hall of Fame, Arcs Poetica, Austin R. Grant, Editor Extraordinaire, Kiefer 3 at PG, the OG, and Patrick Akubo, the connoisseur. Guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Things are going great.